There's a study that examined the DNA of hundreds of people from different generations. What they found was shocking. Patterns of trauma, anxiety, and emotional pain were not just in the individuals themselves, but embedded deep in their genetic code, passed down from their ancestors like an invisible chain. The emotional wounds of the past, those we think we've left behind, are still shaping the choices we make today. But here's the real kicker. Those same chains that bind us can also be broken. What if the pain that has been carried for generations isn't just an inevitable fate? What if you hold the power, right now, to break that cycle? Every moment of suffering, every pattern that seems unshakable, can be dismantled by one simple choice. And that choice, it's in your hands, right here, right now. The time for change is not someday, it's today. This is your moment to rise, to take control, and to set a new course for yourself, for your future, and for those who come after you. What if the key to all of it has been inside you all along? Generational pain is often a silent weight that many carry without fully understanding its origins. It is the emotional, psychological, and even behavioral burdens passed down from one generation to the next. These burdens can manifest in various forms, such as trauma, unhealthy coping mechanisms, limiting beliefs, or patterns of behavior that negatively impact our lives. For instance, a child growing up in a household where conflict and emotional neglect are prevalent may internalize these patterns, carrying them into adulthood without even realizing the long-lasting effects. The pain can be subtle or overt, but it always finds a way to shape the person you become. What makes generational pain particularly insidious is that it can often feel like a natural part of who we are, making it more difficult to recognize. Psychologically, this kind of inherited pain can be tied to the unconscious mind. Carl Jung famously spoke about the concept of the collective unconscious, a reservoir of shared memories and experiences. Within this unconscious mind, we carry the memories of our ancestors, whether we are aware of them or not. These memories aren't just limited to good times. They include unprocessed emotions and unresolved trauma as well. When these unresolved issues are not dealt with, they are passed down like a heavy inheritance that each successive generation must bear. Recognizing generational pain involves understanding the ways in which family history shapes your own life. It's about stepping outside of the behaviors and thought patterns that you have unconsciously adopted from those who came before you. This awareness creates the first opportunity for change. Without it, the cycle continues, often with the same destructive outcomes. Once you begin to understand that you are not simply repeating the mistakes of your ancestors, but are, in fact, carrying their unresolved struggles, you can break free from the chains that hold you back. Healing begins when you acknowledge that the pain is not yours to carry, and it's no longer necessary to pass it down. The process of breaking generational pain often begins with awareness. Carl Jung believed that self-awareness is the key to unlocking transformation. It's easy to go through life on autopilot, reacting to situations without understanding the deeper forces at play. But when we take a step back and reflect on our actions, feelings, and choices, we gain a clearer understanding of how the past has shaped our present. Self-reflection is a powerful tool for growth, as it allows us to examine the core beliefs and behaviors we inherited without questioning them. These inherited patterns might be so ingrained that we don't realize they're limiting our potential or happiness. When we engage in honest self-reflection, we can begin to see the threads of our family's history woven into our own lives. For example, if your parents struggled with financial insecurity, you may find that you, too, carry anxiety about money, even if your current financial situation is stable. This awareness is the first step in breaking the cycle. Jung's work emphasized the importance of acknowledging the unconscious mind. Much of our behavior is influenced by unconscious drives that we often aren't aware of. These drives come from the stories, traumas, and unresolved emotions carried by previous generations. Once we see these patterns, we can decide whether we want to continue living by them. reflection brings the power of choice into our hands. You may not be able to change your past, but you can change how it impacts your future. By recognizing the inherited pain within, you create space for healing. The more you practice self-reflection, the more clarity you gain about the factors that have shaped your thoughts and actions. This awareness empowers you to rewrite your story, allowing you to live in alignment with your true self rather than the one shaped by your ancestors' unhealed wounds. It's a chance to create a future that is free of the past's shadow. Forgiveness is a powerful and transformative act, not only for those who have wronged us, but also for ourselves. It's easy to think of forgiveness as something we give to others, but the reality is that it's primarily an internal process, one that releases us from the grip of past hurt. When we hold on to anger, resentment, or blame, we often find ourselves trapped in a cycle that only deepens our pain. Holding on to these emotions is like carrying a heavy burden that, over time, weighs us down, distorting our ability to live freely. The act of forgiveness, then, is a way of freeing ourselves from the chains of the past, allowing us to move forward with clarity and peace. Carl Jung often spoke about the need to confront the shadow within us, the darker aspects of ourselves that we often try to avoid. Forgiveness is intimately connected to this. When we forgive, we're not ignoring the hurt we've experienced, but instead acknowledging that it no longer needs to define our future. Forgiving others, and ourselves, isn't about excusing the wrongs or pretending they didn't happen. It's about choosing to release the hold that these past events have on us. In this way, forgiveness is an act of self-liberation. When we forgive, we allow ourselves the space to heal, letting go of the emotional baggage that keeps us tethered to old wounds. It's not a quick fix, nor is it easy. Often, forgiveness requires us to confront difficult emotions and make a conscious decision to release them. But this decision is an important step in breaking generational pain. When we forgive, we create a new path, one where the pain of the past no longer dictates how we live or love. We choose healing over harm, growth over stagnation. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, but it does mean choosing peace over the weight of unresolved conflict. It's about embracing the possibility of moving forward, unburdened. Courage is not just about facing fear in grand moments. It is about the small, daily choices we make to confront our limitations. It takes courage to look deeply at the patterns of our lives and recognize how we have allowed past pain to dictate our present. This kind of courage often goes unnoticed by the world because it doesn't show up as heroic acts or bold declarations. It shows up in quiet moments of self-reflection, in the willingness to look at the uncomfortable parts of ourselves and say, "I am ready to change." Carl Jung understood this courage as a vital part of personal growth. He believed that to achieve wholeness, we must face the darkness within, which often requires the bravest kind of courage, the courage to be vulnerable and honest with ourselves. Facing the inherited pain from previous generations is a daunting task. It requires more than just willpower. It demands that we confront deeply embedded fears, beliefs, and behaviors that we might have carried for years without questioning them. Courage is needed to break free from those chains, to stand up to the fear of disappointing family expectations, and to challenge the patterns that no longer serve us. It requires us to step into the unknown, to choose a path that is different from the one that we have always known. Living with this courage doesn't mean you will never feel fear or hesitation. It's about taking action despite those feelings. Courage is about moving forward even when it feels like the weight of the past is too much to carry. Each small step toward breaking the cycle of generational pain builds on the one before it, and it is in those steps that we find our strength. Courage is about becoming the person who decides that no matter how hard it gets, the healing journey is worth it. In embracing that courage, we find not only our liberation but the possibility of creating a healthier future for ourselves and those who follow. Healing is a deeply personal and ongoing process, something that doesn't happen in a moment but rather unfolds over time. It's not just about recovering from wounds, but transforming them into opportunities for growth. Healing begins when we choose to acknowledge the pain that we've carried, whether it's from our own experiences or the weight of generational trauma. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of integrating the parts of ourselves that we often push aside, the parts that feel broken or unworthy. Healing requires us to embrace these aspects of ourselves, not reject them. It means allowing ourselves the space to feel, to process, and ultimately to release what no longer serves us. This journey is not linear, and it's easy to get discouraged when progress feels slow or invisible. There are days when the pain seems overwhelming and healing feels impossible. But every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Healing involves a shift in mindset. It's about seeing our struggles as part of a larger narrative, one that is not defined solely by pain but also by resilience, strength, and the power to change. It's about understanding that the wounds we carry are not permanent markers of who we are. They are experiences that can teach us about ourselves and the world around us. Through healing, we learn to let go of the burdens that hold us back. We stop letting the past dictate our present, and we begin to redefine who we are. It takes patience to heal, but every moment of self-care, every choice to prioritize our mental and emotional well-being, is a piece of the puzzle. Healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means learning to live with it in a way that no longer controls us. It's about finding peace within the pain, learning from it, and ultimately using it as a source of strength rather than a cause of limitation. As we heal, we not only transform ourselves but also create a ripple effect, healing not only our own lives but potentially the lives of those who come after us. Love is an undeniable force that has the power to heal and transform. It is the most fundamental element of human connection and the very thing that can break through the darkest of moments. When we speak of breaking generational pain, love is often the quiet catalyst for change. It starts with self-love, the foundation upon which all other relationships are built. Without self-love, it becomes difficult to extend love to others or even to heal from past wounds. Self-love means accepting ourselves fully, including the parts we've been taught to hide or ignore. It's a conscious decision to treat ourselves with kindness, patience, and care, much like we would for someone we deeply care about. This love extends beyond ourselves. It reaches into our relationships, inviting others to do the same for themselves. When we embrace love as a healing force, we create a ripple effect. It is no longer just about healing ourselves, but about healing those around us as well. In families, communities, or even larger societal structures, love can break cycles of pain and hurt that have lasted for generations. Carl Jung understood that love was at the heart of personal transformation. It's not about grand gestures, but about the small, everyday actions that reflect our care and understanding for ourselves and others. When we love ourselves, we shift our perspective on how we view the world, seeing it not as a place filled with endless suffering, but as a space where growth, healing, and connection are possible. Love also teaches us forgiveness, patience, and the willingness to understand and grow. It helps us see beyond the wounds of the past and open our hearts to the possibility of a better future. Love is the bridge that connects our past with our future, allowing us to transcend the pain and create a new path for ourselves and those who come after us. It is the ultimate source of strength and resilience, the thing that can heal all things when we allow it to flow freely in our lives. The truth is, the power to change is within you, right here and right now. Generational pain does not have to be your legacy. You can rewrite your story to choose a path that is free from the chains of the past. It begins with understanding the pain, embracing self-awareness, and stepping into the courage to heal. It's not easy, but it's possible. Each moment you choose forgiveness, you take one step toward liberation. Each act of self-love brings you closer to a life defined by strength and growth, not the weight of old wounds. You are capable of more than simply surviving. You are meant to thrive. The words that break generational pain, forgiveness, empowerment, courage, healing, and love, are more than just concepts. They are the keys that will unlock your transformation. By embracing them, you reclaim your power and your peace. The future you deserve is one where your pain does not define you, but your resilience and love do. This is your opportunity to heal not just for yourself, but for those who will come after you. The question is no longer whether you can break free. It's about when you will choose to begin. Will you continue the cycle, or will you step into your power and change the course of your destiny? The healing journey may be long, but it starts with a single, courageous step. And that step, it's yours to take.